I, Catherine Elizabeth, take thee, William, Arthur, Philip, Louis, to have and to hold from this day forward, for better, for worse, in sickness and in health, to love and to cherish, till death us do part, according to God's holy law, and thereto I give thee my troth.
What does it take to transform from a commoner into a royal icon? On April 29, 2011, the world watched as Catherine Middleton, a middle-class woman, became the Duchess of Cambridge and Countess of Strathearn. The first commoner to marry a prince in close proximity to the British throne in over 350 years. She would go on to prove she was the missing piece in the House of Windsor, cementing her role as a queen-in-waiting while shaping the future of the monarchy. This is Catherine, Princess of Wales, a woman who stands not just beside a future king, but as a cornerstone of a new royal era. Historically, the British royal family prioritised marriages within the aristocracy to preserve power, wealth, and political alliances. It was not until the 20th century where royal unions often involved members of other royal families across Europe, reinforcing dynastic ties. The marriage of King George VI to Lady Elizabeth Bowes-Lyon in 1923 marked a shift, as she was aristocratic but not royal. Born to Claude Bowes-Lyon, the 14th Earl of Strathmore, Lady Elizabeth was firmly placed within the British nobility. The Bowes-Lyon family has deep roots in Scottish aristocracy, with connections to royal lineage dating back centuries. Elizabeth's upbringing at Glamis Castle and St. Paul's Waldenbury further solidified her noble status, making her a fitting match for Prince Albert, Duke of York, later King George VI. Subsequent marriages, such as Prince Charles to Diana Spencer and Prince William to Catherine Middleton, further illustrated a shift towards marrying from upper middle-class backgrounds rather than strictly noble families.
But even her and I, over the years, have not talked enough about our mother. We've
never enough.
Has doing this campaign sort of made you realise that?
I think so. I always thought to myself, what's the point in bringing up the past? What's the point in bringing up something that's only going to make you sad? It ain't going to change it. It ain't going to bring her back. And when you start thinking like that, it can be really damaging. And you always said to me, you've got to sit down and think about those memories. But for me, it was like, don't want to think about it.
Yeah.
Catherine Middleton joined the royal family at a pivotal time, marked by the lingering pain of Princess Diana's death. The unanswered questions surrounding Diana's passing left her sons grappling with unresolved grief and a longing for closure. The institution they were brought up in was not equipped to help them process their pain. The family motto, "Keep calm and carry on," often overshadowed emotional expression.
Why heads together and why mental health?
It was your idea.
It was your idea. As you said, it's almost like a form of medicine.
Yeah, but as a young mother actually said that to me at the Anna Forey Centre, she said actually just talking to somebody, having those conversations is like medicine for her.
Yeah.
And that is the point, is that actually it's okay to have that conversation, even if it is uncomfortable or awkward.
Coming from a close-knit family, Catherine brought essential warmth and emotional connection that had previously been lacking in the House of Windsor. Her middle-class background proved to be an asset, allowing her to bridge the gap between tradition and modernity within the monarchy. But was the institution truly ready for this new chapter?
Whatever in love means.
Well, it
put your own interpretation.
Obviously means two very happy people.
Yes.
Once again,
As you can see.
congratulations.
Well, from us, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Very kind.
You can actually see the light go out behind her eyes. She felt almost her world collapse.
43 years ago, a shy 19-year-old Diana Spencer fell head over heels for non-enthusiastic 32-year-old Prince Charles. From the very beginning, the cracks in their relationship were evident. Diana adored her husband-to-be, but Charles was emotionally distant, his heart still tethered to another. Although he did not love her, she was the institution's ideal choice for a future queen. As they entered the gilded cage of royal life, the fairy tale quickly turned into a nightmare. Diana, a blameless woman from a respectable background, had produced an heir and a spare. Her duty was fulfilled. Charles now desired his true love, Mrs. Parker Bowles. The world adored Diana, except the one she loved. Years later, the 15-year-old boy she left behind had come of age. Now second in line to the throne, he embarked on his own quest for a future queen. Would she be his choice, or would the decision once again be dictated by the institution that had so profoundly shaped his mother's fate?
You all know the reasons which have impelled me to renounce the throne. But you must believe me when I tell you that I have found it impossible to carry the heavy burden of responsibility and to discharge my duties as king without the help and support of the woman I love.
The British monarchy's journey through the trials of heir marriages is marked by profound lessons learned from the heartbreak of King Edward VIII and the turbulent union of Prince Charles and Princess Diana. Picture this: King George V is dead, while his nation grapples with whispers and tensions of impending war. Edward, his reluctant heir, ascends to the throne, burdened by the weight of expectation and a secret longing for Wallis Simpson, a woman whose heart he yearns for but cannot claim as his queen. As clouds of conflict loom, the king faces a monumental dilemma. The Church of England, of which he is head, forbids him from marrying a twice-divorced woman. This constitutional crisis threatens to divide a nation already on edge. With war looming, unity is paramount. A king without a consort risks destabilizing the country. The royal family and government officials press Edward to consider the implications. A divided kingdom cannot stand against the threat of war. A decision has to be made. Ultimately, love prevails over duty. Edward chooses Wallis, declaring he cannot fulfill his responsibilities without her support. But just how important is the consort if they do not have significant constitutional powers? Albert Frederick Arthur George, known as King George VI, ascended the throne amidst personal and national turmoil. Growing up as Bertie, he struggled with a debilitating stutter, a challenge exacerbated by a strict upbringing under his father and a distant relationship with his mother. Unlike heirs groomed for kingship, Bertie was unprepared for his new role. His speeches often failed to inspire confidence, as his stutter and body language reflected his inner turmoil.
The Queen and I are very happy to be in Scotland once more. We shall see today the completion of a great scheme whose inception we saw when we were last in Glasgow 10 months ago.
Regardless, he found stability in his wife Queen Elizabeth and their children. As war approached, it is the Queen that helped transform Bertie's image as king. When Prime Minister Winston Churchill advised the royal family to evacuate London for Canada to preserve the monarchy's continuity, Queen Elizabeth would famously declare, "The children will not go alone, and I will not leave the king who would never go." And as London endured bombings, the king and queen toured devastated sites together. However, Elizabeth's choice of her usual pastel dresses during wartime stood in stark contrast to the grim reality, as she believed the British public would wear their best clothes if they were coming to see her. Buckingham Palace, the King and Queen's home, was bombed in September 1940, but the Queen's response was still defiant. "I'm glad we've been bombed. Now we can look the East End in the face." We see a Queen with a deep understanding of the royal family's role in maintaining morale during challenging times. A Queen who helped bolster Britain's confidence and unity against Nazi aggression. We see a woman whose defiance made her the face of resistance against tyranny. A woman who earned respect from one of history's most formidable figures. She is the Queen Adolf Hitler referred to as the most dangerous woman in Europe. But above all, she was Bertie's first and only love.
And I said, Camilla, I'd love to have a word with you if possible. And I said, Camilla, I'd just like you to know that I know exactly what's going on. And she said, I don't know what you're talking about. And I said, I know what's going on between you and Charles. And she said to me, very interesting, she said to me, you've got everything you've ever wanted. All the men in the world fall in love with you. You've got two beautiful children, what more would you want? And I didn't believe what she said anyway. So I said, I want my husband.
After years of navigating the complexities of hair marriages, it became evident that love is crucial to the crown. The mutual feelings between partners must be at the centre of their union. William's choice of spouse was important to Queen Elizabeth II, particularly in light of his parents' troubled marriage. She was intentional about William's happiness. He loved Catherine, and the Queen approved, embraced, and supported her. Contrary to Diana's experience, Kate was welcomed into the royal family with open arms and received essential support to help her transition smoothly into royal life. From public speaking coaching to receiving personal training from Her Majesty during afternoon teas, the institution has been intentional about this future Queen. While Kate became a Windsor by marriage, her family values have been respected and seamlessly integrated into royal protocol. Her family is occasionally at Wimbledon, the Royal Ascot, and other significant royal events supporting her. The Middletons were in fact Prince George's first visitors after birth, followed by a break from protocol, his royal paternal grandfather, Prince Charles, and his wife Camilla, highlighting their importance within the royal circle.
Oh, they're both doing really well, and we're so thrilled.
How are the parents doing?
Fabulously.
Catherine's journey into royal life has been characterised by grace and dignity. Initially expressing that, joining the royal family was a daunting prospect, she has since embraced her new role with poise and pride. From a shy bride-to-be, we have witnessed Kate evolve into a remarkable figure, confidently carving out her own path and redefining the monarchy. Queen Elizabeth grew fond of Kate because of her genuine love for William. She embodied a supportive partner who did not compete for the spotlight, something that was notably lacking in Charles and Diana's marriage.
In the capital, a typical English homecoming awaits the travellers. But there's to be a cheerful reunion as Her Majesty the Queen arrives with Prince Charles, who gets an early training in official dignity. It's home for the princess as the Queen warmly embraces her daughter. But even in the midst of a joyous homecoming, Britain's heiress presumptive puts her duty first, and motherly love must await the privacy of Clarence House.
The 20th century aristocratic parenting style was characterized by emotional distance and strict discipline. Children were often raised by nannies and governesses devoid of parental affection and connection. This approach emphasized obedience and conformity, with parents exerting high control but low warmth. In November 1951, we see 3-year-old Prince Charles eagerly awaiting his parents' return from a 6-week absence, yearning for a warm embrace. Instead, he is met with their casual indifference, leaving his young mind confused and adjusting to a lack of affection. While his parents were preoccupied with royal duties, Charles found solace in the care of nannies and his grandmother, who filled his emotional void. Introduced to the rigid protocols of royalty at an early age, he struggled to comprehend the expectations placed upon him. This early conditioning likely stunted his emotional development, shaping a future where he grappled with expressing warmth and affection. As he grew older, Charles exhibited signs of insecurity and rebellion, often feeling lost within the constraints of royal life. His attempts to assert himself manifested in unconventional choices that clashed with royal expectations. As a father, Charles has often been perceived as distant, mirroring the emotional detachment he experienced as a child. His parenting style has often drawn criticism. However, one must ponder whether he truly should be blamed for perpetuating a cycle of emotional restraint. The lack of parental affection in his formative years undoubtedly influenced his ability to connect with his own children. William and Harry's childhood was a cacophony of media frenzy. From the moment they were born, they were ensnared in a web of public scrutiny, with their mother, Princess Diana, constantly pursued by paparazzi. This invasive attention culminated tragically in her death in 1997, leaving the princes to navigate a world where privacy was a fleeting dream, burdened by the weight of public expectation and the haunting legacy of their mother's struggles with fame. In contrast to his troubled upbringing, William's approach to fatherhood, alongside Catherine, marks a significant departure from royal tradition. Initially viewed through the lens of skepticism as a middle-class social climber, Catherine has emerged as a transformative figure within the monarchy. She has consciously prioritized her children's privacy and well-being, establishing a new standard for royal parenting that emphasizes family over protocol. When Prince George was born, he was not merely an heir, but a child welcomed into a nurturing environment that valued familial bonds. In a notable break from tradition, baby George spent his early days at the Middleton family home in Berkshire, rather than within palace walls. A decision that highlighted Kate's commitment to fostering a close-knit family unit reminiscent of her own upbringing, where love and stability reigned supreme. The Princess of Wales' parenting style champions normalcy and stability. She has proactively shielded her children from media intrusion, ensuring that George, Charlotte, and Louis largely escaped the relentless tabloid attention that plagued Diana. The couple has established privacy agreements with the press that allow their children enjoy everyday activities free from the prying eyes of photographers. Their hands-on parenting style is evident in their involvement with school drop-offs and pickups, bedtime routines, and even baking the kids' birthday cakes. A refreshing glimpse into royal life that has endeared them to the public. This nurturing approach has fostered an environment that allows George, Charlotte, and Louis to just be children, loved openly, and allowed to express themselves without the burden of their status weighing on them. The Kate effect on William has been profound. He has transformed into a warm and grounded family man. His experiences as a father have helped heal the wounds of his own childhood. William's focus on family values reflects his desire to create a different legacy for his children than what he experienced. Catherine's influence is pivotal for the monarchy's future. She represents evolution within an institution that must adapt to modern expectations while maintaining its relevance. Her ability to blend tradition with contemporary values has revitalized public interest in the royal family and established a compassionate narrative around royal life. As we witness this new chapter of the British monarchy, one characterized by warmth, accessibility, and familial bonds, it becomes clear that Catherine is not merely filling Princess Diana's shoes. She is carving her own path. Her exemplary parenting style sets a precedent that could redefine royal life for generations to come.
This is Welsh.
Interestingly, both William and Harry have navigated their relationship with the media differently. While Harry has openly challenged tabloid culture and its impact on mental health, often describing it as toxic, William has adopted a more pragmatic approach. He understands the necessity of maintaining some level of engagement with the press while protecting his family's privacy. This nuanced understanding reflects his maturity and readiness for future leadership.
What would you give out of 10, George? How many marks out of 10 would you give it? 10 being the highest.
20.
20 out of 10. Okay, that's pretty good.
20.
I think Mummy's done well.
How amazing is that?
Be on here?
Yeah.
Whoa. Give me a push.
In all fairness, we could owe this new William to Catherine, Princess of Wales. She embodies just the right balance of change needed to navigate modern challenges while honouring royal traditions. Through her actions and choices, she has not only shaped William into a compassionate leader and a devoted family man, but also ensured their children grow up embraced with love rather than overshadowed by duty. A legacy that promises to resonate far beyond their time. As they forge ahead together, this royal family exemplifies resilience and adaptability in an ever-evolving world.